Hello, everyone. My name is Shadi Andrade, and I will be doing my presentation on college transitioning and how it's challenging but not impossible. So, childhood dreams versus reality. Um, Ever since I was a little girl, I've dreamed about what college life would be like. I imagined independence, maturity, freedom, that once I got here to college, I wouldn't need my mom anymore. But when that moment finally came, I realized how far from the truth that was. Transitioning into college was not just about moving away or studying harder. It's definitely a journey of self-discovery, growth, and resilience. So today I'll share my story of transitioning to college and using insights from Erik Erikson's Stages of Development, the Family Systems Theory, and also a study on college adjustment to reflect on how this experience shaped both me and my family. So, understanding the college transition. The transition to college definitely looks different for everyone, but it often falls within the development period called emerging adulthood, which happens in the late teens to early 20s. So, this stage is about finding independence, building confidence, and learning how to balance responsibilities. And for many students, including myself, it means figuring out how to manage academics, friendships, even personal well-being, um, often for the first time on our own. And according to Newman and Newman's developmental theory, emerging adulthood is when we begin to explore our values, our career paths, and independence. So it's an exciting period in our life, yet it's stressful at the same time, but that shapes us who we later on want to become. So Erickson's stages of development, I focused on two stages that were related directly to my experience. The first one being identity versus role confusion, and that's mostly discovering who you are and what you value. The second stage I focused on was intimacy and versus isolation, which is forming meaningful and supportive relationships. So during my transition, I found myself a lot of the times questioning my identity. I thought I knew exactly who I wanted to become. But later I learned that finding someone's true calling isn't always gonna be a straight path. So for my freshman year, I entered Immaculata as a nursing major. I was thrilled. I was really excited. But when the first day of classes hit, it immediately turned into anxiety. From day one, the coursework was really overwhelming. I felt lost, scared, and way too embarrassed to ask for help, especially as a first generation college student. I felt like I should already have all the knowledge that I needed to surpass difficulties or hardships. So when I didn't do well on my first semester classes, um, it felt like the world was falling apart really quickly. And I didn't want my parents to know that. But later on, when I opened up to them, I realized that honesty and vulnerability are really powerful tools for growth. So, the family systems theory explains that when one person in the family changes, the entire family system must adjust. So, um, my parents, they had to shift from direct caretakers, especially me being an only child. They had a difficult time for that, and also having difficulty understanding how they could be the best supporters for me, especially miles away. Um, and also a study that I came across titled Managing the Transition to College: Family Functioning, Emotion, Coping, and Adjustment in Emerging Adulthood. It said that it found that students who openly communicate and receive emotional support from their families, they adjust better to college life, which is was very true for me as well. because once I opened up, my parents became my biggest and best support system. And communication between all three of us, between me, my mom, and my dad, it's strengthening our bond most definitely, and also my emotional stability. We definitely grew and are still growing together. So I didn't do well on my anatomy and physiology two. Um, and I felt defeated because I studied for hours. I did every piece of advice I was given by my professor, by other people, but my grade didn't improve. So my um, advisor and my advising coach, they mostly kind of advised me to drop the course so that it could save my GPA. But thinking about dropping the course and kind of not being able to keep progressing in it felt like I failed. It definitely felt like it just felt like I didn't, I just wasn't capable of doing the course. Um, but I dropped the course and I retook Anatomy 1 and 2 over the summer. And I definitely, that whole summer, I felt I was just in the books. I was studying, I was doing everything that I could that for me to pass. And when I finally passed, I definitely felt like I succeeded finally. Like I felt like the world was rebuilding itself again. But I got into my spring of my fall of the fall semester, and a couple days in, I got an email, and my parents at home got a letter saying that I didn't meet the requirement to stay in the nursing program. Um, and that I just remember feeling lost. I definitely felt confused because I had asked many different people, like even advisors. I asked professors what exactly I needed for me to continue into the program so that I could successfully stay in it. Um, and I followed that. And so receiving these notices, I was confused. Um, and I went into a meeting with the dean of the nursing program at the time, and I just remember being so heartbroken. I cried in front of the dean. I questioned my worth. I wondered if I even in the beginning really ever belonged in college. It was definitely a heartbreak for me, especially the dean telling me that um, it's normal to fail. That it took her like 10 years to get into the program, so it's kind of normal for me to not get into it at first. It might take me even longer, which is not the best advice a dean should be giving to a student. Um, but it definitely gave me a heartbreak. I genuinely was very uncertain about my future. I didn't know how to continue in life. So, finding my true identity forced me to reflect on who I am without nursing. Um, because after that difficult experience, I genuinely had to ask myself, who am I beyond my major? Like, I thought my major was my whole identity. There was nothing more to me. But after spending a lot of time reflecting and healing and also having that open communication with my parents, I realized that I had been chasing a dream that isn't impossible, but also isn't my calling for right now. I later on realized that I really wanted to teach. And I used this experience that I had with nursing and also past experiences of me being in third grade and being told that I would never be able to comprehend, write, do math, read. I wouldn't be able to even get into college because of these inabilities, quote unquote. Um, and so that's kind of tough to hear as a third grader, like as a child. it sticks with you for a really long time, and that you slowly start to feel like it's true, which is not. No child deserves to hear that. Um, and so I want to use these past experiences to inspire others the way I wish I had been inspired during my struggles. And so in the spring of 2024, I decided to go into early education with the concentration in special education. And that fully has changed my whole world. Um, I thought I fully focus, I shift the focus from self-doubt to empowerment and purpose. Also, around that same time, I started therapy and I was diagnosed with GAD. And at first, it was definitely hard for my immigrant parents to understand because for them, therapy or for in the Hispanic world, it's not really open. Um, Taking therapy, it felt for them and in the country where they're from, therapy isn't something that is really believed in. Um, but when I would go to my sessions, I would always express how relieved I felt, how heard and understood I felt, and they saw how much it helped me. And they became a lot more open-minded. They became very interested in it. They wanted to learn more. Um, and also, therapy taught me how to manage my emotions, communicate my needs, and also recognize that asking for help isn't a weakness. It's more so strength. Um, and also this experience of going into therapy definitely strengthened our family bond. My parents also learned about love languages, coping skills, and emotional expression. And I feel like ever since then, we have become closer than ever before. Um, So revisiting Erickson, reflecting back, I can clearly see that I definitely was putting identity versus role confusion at work. Because at first I felt lost. I was genuinely very unsure of my identity after losing the fact that I couldn't be a nurse anymore. Um, but the support from my parents, therapy, support from my therapist, and also reflecting, I had the chance to rebuild myself. I had the chance to rebuild confidence and equal that to achieving my identity. I also found confidence, direction, and peace in who I am because it's really hard to grow up your whole life, almost your whole life, thinking that you're going to be a nurse and that you're going to be successful in it. Um, and having one day just it all be crumbled down and kind of being told that no, you won't be able to become that right now. You're going to have to wait more years later on in line is really difficult. Um, and so I found peace in the fact that that just wasn't my calling, my true calling. Um, I also feel like during that same time, I developed emotional maturity, resilience, and also definitely a sense of purpose. I definitely don't feel like I don't belong in college anymore. I feel like I finally gained that sense of direction and confidence. Um, and also to remember that those struggles that I went through don't define me. They didn't define me at the time. Um, they just redefined me. They made me grow and they made me gain more sense of myself. So some of the lessons learned throughout my journey, I feel like they taught me several powerful lessons, but five of them that I really focused on, is asking for help is brave. It's not a weakness. It's not you showing that you're dumb. It's not showing any that sort of thing. It's actually more so you asking to be more wise and to gain more wisdom, to show that you desire to do things well. Um, Another thing that I feel like is a takeaway is that family communication matters and that openness creates healing. Um, I feel like with my parents, they definitely didn't know how to communicate. They didn't know how to best help me out, especially in a world that they are also very unfamiliar. Um, and being able to communicate with them and being able to tell them that I'm having a tough time in this course, um, is strengthening us because then they also kind of work with me and they give me advice. They try to look things up. They might help me more than probably an advisor or professor could. Um, Another thing is that failure isn't final. It's definitely a stepping stone to growth. And this is actually something that I really live by, especially with how everything went down. I felt like I was a failure. Like it felt a little more harder just because I was a first gen student. And it's it's definitely it feels like a failure because there's so many expectations kind of weighed in on you. Um, Especially if you have immigrant parents who never went to college and that you're the first one going to college, getting a degree. It's it definitely weighs in on you, but realizing that it's not something that defines you and it's not something that is final, it's only, like I said, like a stepping stone to growth is very important for many reasons, especially your mental health. Um, Another one is identity is fluid. It's okay to change your direction and also redefine your identity. Um, like earlier, I mentioned your calling isn't always going to be a straight path. It's gonna take turns, U-turns, a left turn, a right turn, and that's good because it's changing you and it's growing you to know more things, to find out more things, um, to become more wise. Um, and also mental health. Mental health is essential for academic success and also um, self-discovery. I feel like this isn't really talked about a lot, but mental health is so important to even get out of bed and brush your teeth and get dressed and even go to class. It's so important to be to put your well-being first for you to succeed in your courses and in life in general. So, where am I now? Today, I'm proud to say that I have grown not only as a student, but also as a person. I'm confident and I'm really passionate about becoming a teacher. Um, as I'm studying early in special education, preparing to become a teacher, I want to inspire my future students to believe in themselves, no matter their struggles, no matter if they are having a difficult time in ELA, if they are having trouble in phonics, if they are having trouble in figuring out what's one plus two. I want them to know that they can learn and that are they are going to become what they dream of becoming. Um, Also, my bond with my parents have been stronger than ever. We still communicate and we understand each other. We have forms um, of telling each other how to best help one another. Um, Also, I found a balance between my independence and also my family connection. I feel like my parents have learned a lot about boundaries and the fact that they need to let my wings grow. As much as they love me and I know they mean well, they have to let me learn a few things on my own and kind of gain that independence. Also, college didn't only just shape my career, my future career, but it also shaped who I am today, my whole identity. So in the end, college transitioning is challenging. It definitely has its challenges, but it is not impossible. And every setback, every tear, every moment of doubt was part of becoming the person I am today. And I learned how to navigate change, build resilience, and discover my true identity. Um, Also, as Erickson's theory reminds us, growth comes through crisis. And through my challenges, I didn't just find my career path, I also found myself. And I'm not just surviving college, I'm growing into who I want to be, who I am meant to be. These are my references, and thank you so much for tuning in and hearing my story. Have a blessed day.